Hello, I'm Steve Maskery and welcome to Workshop Essentials. Now, I have been woodworking a long time. So long, in fact, that you would think that I would be better at it than I am. But I can't remember a time when I was not around tools. My dad was a cabinet maker, my granddad was a pattern maker. There was always wood and tools about. And when you start getting interested in woodwork, whether it's as a child or maybe you come to it later in life, then to start with, you spend a lot of time trying to find plans for things you want to build. Designs, things you like, things that are within your skill set. And then as you get a bit more experienced, a bit longer in the tooth, you start to design things yourself. And that's easy these days with packages like SketchUp. You can mess about until you've got something that looks exactly right. About 20 years ago, I made a pair of Adirondack chairs. Although in those days I thought it was pronounced Adirondack, and I still find it easier to say Adirondack than Adirondack. But apparently it's pronounced Adirondack. And I made them very well. I did make them very well, but I didn't design them very well. They still exist, they're in a friend's garden, and they look as good today as the day they were built. But they're a little bit wide in the seats, so they don't really hug you. They're a little bit deep in the seat, so they get you a bit at the back of the knee. And they're just a little bit too laid back, which is fine if you're sunbathing, but it's not great if you want to sit and read a book or do a crossword. So the time has come to make two new ones, and I am going back to doing it the easy way. I am using a ready-made plan off the shelf, and it's this one. This is Norm Abram's Adirondack chairs. Now this is a Mark II version, and Mark II versions sound good to me because that means that he has built the chair, he has lived with it for a while, he's discovered what worked well, he discovered what could be improved, and he's made those improvements. So I have high hopes that this is going to be a very successful chair. The plans are free, legitimately free from the Popular Woodworking website, and I'll put a link down below. And you get basically a magazine article, a list of instructions on how to make it, but you also get, and this is crucial, you get a cutting list like this, and you get a set of templates like this on 1-inch squares. Now there is a mismatch actually between one of the cutting list dimensions and the dimension on the drawing, and I've chosen to use the drawing because you can see from the grid how wide it should be. They're all in inches, which is a pain if you normally work in millimetres, but I'm amphibious, I can do both. So it's going to be an inches project. Now I've already started making my templates. I'm using 9mm MDF because that's nice, robust, a good solid edge against which to run my router bearing when I come to do some flush trimming. And I've already made the arm, so that's the template for the arm. I've got an upper cross piece, so this goes just behind my shoulders like that. A corresponding one which goes lower down behind the small of my back. And there's another curved piece which is the rearmost slat of the seat itself, which fits into the curve of the back. So there is one more piece to make, and that is the diagonal pieces, the sides that go from the front leg down to the ground at the back. And this is my blank for this. Now, this is a really good project for people who are starting out because it's a proper project, it's not some kind of toy or gimmick. And you can do it even if you've not got a great deal of experience, because none of it is difficult. And you don't need much in the way of tools and machinery. You can do the whole project with some very simple hand tools. And I am going to prove it. Now, I've got a very well-equipped workshop here. I've built this up over 40-odd years. And so I'm not going to abandon it all just to prove a point. But I am going to show you that it's possible because I'm going to make the most complex profile template entirely with hand tools. And I'm not even going to use my bench. I'm going to do it on a workmate. And most of us start with a workmate and a few hand tools. And I'm going to prove that it's possible. And if I can do this one template with it, with just hand tools, there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't do the whole lot with just hand tools. But I'm 62 and I'd like to be able to sit in this before I pop my clogs, thank you very much. So I want to do things a bit faster and I've got all the kit, so I may as well use it. But it is perfectly, not just possible, but a reasonable idea to be able to do this by hand. So I need to get my workbench out of the way and then set my workmate up here, and I'll show you how to cut out the template. Right, so the first job then is to draw out our 1-inch grid. So I've already cut this to length and width, and I've marked out, I've done most of them, but I've got a couple more short ones to do, just at the end here. And then I've got, oh, I said I wouldn't use the bench, didn't I? I'm using it for storage. And then I've also got my pencil gauge. So we'll set that to that mark there. There we go. And I'm just going to mark this corner because this is my datum. That's where the grid begins. So I've now got a grid of 1-inch squares. And so I just have to copy from the squares on this drawing onto that. So they've got the datum point there. So I need to copy it in that orientation. Right. Ooh. Now then, there's a bit of information which is not given here, and that's how far in the straight bit starts. But you can infer it from the drawing because it's about somewhere there. It's 1 inch and a bit, so it's in this square here. And it finishes 1, 2, 3, 4 and a bit in. 3 and a bit in from there. Ooh. 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 Now, there's a bit of information missing. It doesn't tell you how far back that is set. So we're going to have to infer from the drawing. And it looks to me as if it's about 1 inch and a quarter. And given that the straight section is given as 29.5, and it looks pretty much symmetrical, I'm going to assume that that's what the difference is. And it tells me that that front corner, that is the front where the front end of the leg meets the upper leg, the vertical leg, it goes up at an angle of 24.5 degrees, which I've set on here. So that goes like that goes like that, and that should give me a point there, which looks about right. That looks as if it matches the drawing in terms of how it ends up at the front end there. So that's going to come off. There's also a corresponding angle, 90 degrees to that one, to come off at the bottom, but I'm not going to cut that off the template because I need something to screw to. Now, in all the other templates, there will be somewhere to screw that's going to be a screw hole anyway, but at this end of the side, there isn't. So I'm going to leave that angle on and cut that off afterwards after all the rest of the shaping's been done. So now we need some further information. So where's my ruler? there is a straight section which ends 19 3/8 of an inch. 19 3/8 is there. And it tells me that it's 4 inches long. So that takes me to 16 inches there, 20 to 16. And that bit is going to remain straight between there and there. And the rest is going to be curved. We've got one end there. We need to find the other end here. And that is about looking at the drawing, about 1 5/8 inches up from, what have I done with my pencil, with my ruler? 1 5/8 inches up from this end. 1 5/8 inches. So I'm going to assume that it's there. And then everything else that goes on in between those 2 points, between those 2 points and between those 2 points, is actually just a continuous, smooth, comfortable curve. The back end really doesn't matter what it is. The front end, this front half, that's going to be a bit more important because that's going to be the shape of the seat. So we simply watch where the intersections are on the drawing and plot them out on here. And there. And then we come in. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goes through about halfway. Right, that goes through there. Where's that? So that's 1, 2 1/2, 1, 2 1/2, and that goes down there. Right, so I've got some key points there, 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 and there. Let's get a few more round in this corner here. We've got to go from there to there. So that one is going through at about that point there. And then we need some French curves. Again, from my school days. They're still going strong. That'll do, there. What do you reckon? About like that? About like that. Then we need to come up the other way. Turn it around, it'll be easier. This bit's not quite right there. That's too bulbous. I think I'll have to fare that by eye when I cut it out. That doesn't look bad though, actually. That doesn't look bad. Right, the other side, that's the back end that sits on the floor. So it's not critical anyway. This is a bit more important because this is going to define the shape of my seat. So let's see how many points we can find on this. That looks pretty good to me. So again, French curves, let's find something that's a reasonable fit. Oh, that's quite a nice fit there. There we go. That's quite nice and smooth. And again, I can sort of smooth that off by eye at the end. And I've just lost my contact lens. Blinking heck I have as well. Right, sight restored. Now it looks like I'm cutting on the pull stroke here. Normally I would cut on the push stroke with a coping saw and a pull stroke with a fret saw, but for some reason I've got it in this way round. Oh, my back. Oh. Very nice, Steve. Very nice, even if I do say so myself. My goodness me, I'm really glad I don't have to work on a workmate all the time. It's far too low. It's taking me less than an hour and my back is killing me. So I'm really glad that I've got my fantastic bench. If you've not seen the build, check it out on YouTube. And so here is the finished template. Remember, there's another angle to be cut off there, but I want to save that piece so that I can screw through. And it's all nice and smooth, very nice indeed, and all done with some simple hand tools. And if I can cut MDF with hand tools like this, I can cut 3/4 inch softwood with hand tools. The one thing that I would say, that if you are going to go down the complete hand tool route, then you will need a coarser blade than this. This is 12 or 14, I'm not sure exactly which, TPI, and that'll be too fine for something as thick as this. You need to aim for 3 or 4 teeth in the wood at any one time. So nothing finer than 6 TPI, and if it's as low as 4 TPI, then you won't come unstuck. So I've got some prep to do, some machining, board preparation, because all my other stock is rough sawn. I've got 2 pieces left over from making a garden planter, and these are going to make the arms. Now this one has got a split in this end, but I can cut round that, so I can get one arm out of that piece, which avoids this split area. So that'll be quite nice, because that's quite a clean board. And this one has got a dirty great big knot in it, but again, I can cut round that and I shall have a very clean board. So these 2 are going to be my arms, but everything else is yet to be prepped. So I've got that to do. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next time, enjoy your workshop. Cheerio.